Today, we're going to compare all physical penetration items and figure out which one you should buy in your game. Let's go.
Just for the thrill of it, nothing counterfeit with you. Just the thrill of it. Just for the thrill of it, nothing counterfeit.
Yo guys, how's everyone doing? This is your guy AssassinDave. Welcome back to the foreign famous family again. There are 5 major physical penetration items in the game: Malific Roar, Hunter Strike, War Axe, Bladed Heptaseas, and Fury Hammer. Now, obviously, Fury Hammer is merely a component, but in a little bit, you will find out how cost-effective this item is and why we're considering it as a standalone item in today's comparison. To make things easier throughout this video, we're going to refer all physical damage as PD and penetration as pen. Basically, physical penetration then becomes PDP. Now, before we get started guys, I know more than half of y'all beautiful sexy people watching have yet to join the coolest, greatest, and baddest family in the world of Mobile Legends. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash the like button, subscribe, and turn the bell on to all notification bells for the YouTube algorithm. I upload videos on a daily basis and keep you guys entertained and informed. And remember to re-download your Mobile Legends with a link in description for 20% extra diamonds. Today's video is brought to you by G Fuel. If you want to be as energetic as me on stream every time, make sure to use the link in description with code DAVE at checkout for 10% off. Love y'all. Without further ado, let's get into the video. They say no items are made the same, and in Mobile Legends case, that cannot be more descriptive of the truth. Through mathematic examination and battle experimentation, I had a series of interesting discoveries that will change your understanding of this penetration items forever. Well, at least until devs change them again in upcoming days. First, let's go over some of the criteria I used in today's examination. Raw PD, PD pen, PD to cost ratio, aka PD per gold, PD pen to cost ratio, aka PDP per gold, and item passive perks. These stats are important because they give us a better understanding of cost effectiveness of an item. You might ask, okay Dave, but why do I care about cost effectiveness to begin with? I mean, what even is cost effectiveness in Mobile Legends? Well, just think like this. Everyone can only carry 6 items maximum in a game, and due to that limitation, it's very important that you carry the best, most effective items to maximize your impact in the game. Wasting a single slot is like contributing towards the crime. It's illegal, so don't do it. And once we get all the stats for 5 items, we'll then use PD per gold and PDP per gold to calculate a weighted average to rank the items. In today's task, we're giving PDP per gold a slight heavier weight to PD per gold. The explanation for this is the growing importance on how penetration plays in damage amplification. For more on how penetration and damage amplifier works together, make sure to check out our latest top 20 tips and tricks for more details. With that being said, let's put these 5 items to the test. We're gonna start our comparison with one of the most popular items in the meta, War Axe. War Axe provides an acceptable 45 points PD and a maximum of 24 points of penetration that takes 8 seconds to mature. If we take a medium and say 1 engages lasts for half that, 4 seconds, which is equivalent of 12 points of penetration, this will result in a whopping 0.023 physical damage per gold and 0.006 PD per gold. And that is just sad. But if you consider War Axe passive being fully activated and you have 24 points of penetration, then we have a decent 0.012 penetration per gold. Relatively speaking to the other items in comparison, 0.012 PDP per gold is not bad at all, but it takes an astronomical 8 seconds to achieve the full passive of War Axe. If you look at most assassins, when was the last time you saw Hayabusa stay in a fight for 8 seconds? I mean, when was the last time you saw Saber that takes 8 seconds to kill an enemy? The answer is rarely. So War Axe might be a good item for some fighters, but definitely not a good item for all. Overall, this item received a last place ranking among all 5 items. I do want to make it clear, just because it received number 5 doesn't mean it's not a good item. For heroes like Leomord, Paquito, and other fighters who usually stick around in a team fight, War Axe still remains one of the best early game options. It offers extra HP, cooldown reduction, and a movement speed bonus once you get all passive stacks, all of which are essential stats for fighters. Now, let's move on to Malific Roar. As you can see from the chart, Malific Roar offers 60 PD. Since Malific Roar does not give a flat penetration number, but rather a calculated percentage based on enemies' armor, we would have to be a bit more creative and use some average stats from the game. If we use an average of 50 to 100 armor for enemies in the game, we get an average penetration between 20 points to 40 points from Malific Roar, which gives us a 0.01 PDP per gold to 0.02 PDP per gold. And when you put this number in comparison with others, we get either a rank 4 or rank 2 in today's list. And that actually makes a lot of sense because Malific Roar is a situational item. You really only need to build it if enemy has more than 100 armor. Assuming an enemy has 100 armor, building Malific Roar allows you to take a whopping 40 points away. Plus some flat armor penetration item, you can effectively reduce their armor to under 20, which will double your damage output compared to if you don't build it. But if enemy builds no armor at all, then building Malific Roar might be counterproductive. For example, let's say if enemy sits at 30 armor at level 15, then building Malific Roar will only give you 11 points of penetration, which you can easily get a lot more of by building another cheaper option. And just when you're about to get overwhelmed with all these numbers, just remember that Malific Roar is the best item when enemy has many members sitting around 100 armor and above, especially for those carry players who like to build brute force breastplate. Other than that, you probably will end up with higher damage output if you build something else, since your goal was not to focus tank to begin with. Next up, let's talk about my favorite item of the current meta, Hunter Strike. Hunter Strike offers the best physical damage to gold ratio. For an affordable price of 2010 gold, you get 80 physical damage, 15 physical penetration, and much more. Yes, you did not hear wrong. For a short time only, you can get this bad boy for only 2010 gold. Sorry, got too carried away with the infomercial, huh? The inner Uncle Dave came out just a little bit. Coming back, Hunter Strike not only offers incredible base stats, the passive of this item is simply second to none in the game. I don't know if you're a movement speed lover like me, but even if you're not, you probably get punished or at least annoyed by anyone who's too slippery to catch. And Hunter Strike offers you 60% movement speed boost with a simple requirement of 5 damage tick that can either come from your auto attack or skills. For example, Saber can instantaneously proc it within 2 seconds. Hayabusa can also activate it by simply jumping onto your enemy and throw a shuriken or two. The early game physical damage boost and mobility will ensure your smooth transition into your power spike. There's almost not a single scenario that I think Hunter Strike doesn't fit, especially for assassins who deals and skills with physical damage. With all that being said, we are giving Hunter Strike a number 2 in today's overall ranking. Now, let's talk about the less favorite choice, Blade of Heptaseas. This item is truly in an awkward place, and I'm going to explain why. Blade of Heptaseas actually offers similar stats to Hunter Strike, except for 10 points less physical damage and a different passive. Blade of Heptaseas allows you to deal some bonus damage and slow the enemy down with first auto, and with a cheap pricing of only 1950 gold. But here lies the problem. Blade of Heptaseas has always been intended to be the physical damage version of the Shadow Twin Blade, aka the Kaja Karina item. While Shadow Twin Blade offers decent slow and damage burst, Blade of Heptaseas is behind on both fronts, compared to its mage counterpart. The item's slow is not so visually satisfying, and the burst damage surely can't even be noticed sometimes. Nonetheless, Blade of Heptaseas still offers decent base stats with 70 points of physical damage and 15 points of physical penetration. To say this item is bad is irresponsible, but somewhat correct. The biggest downfall for Blade of Heptaseas are actually the rise of other items like Hunter Strike, War Axe, and so on. You can still build this item on heroes like Hanzo, Lancelot if you want to test it out, but even then, there are much better alternatives such as Hunter Strike that's just too good to pass on. So overall, Blade of Heptaseas received the rank 3 in today's list, still better than War Axe in lots of situations, but it definitely got overshadowed at the moment. Fingers crossed we see a rebuff on this item to bring it to its former glory. Last but not the least, the crown seed of today's comparison is actually not a complete item, but rather an essential component for many items including Blade of Heptaseas and Hunter Strike. The Fury Hammer! For the price of 830 gold, Fury Hammer offers 35 physical attack and 12 physical penetration, which bring its cost efficiency to the highest among all 5 today, much higher than all the complete items we demoed earlier.
But what does this mean, Dave? Should I not build full items and just stack Fury Hammer?
No, What this actually means is you should always prioritize this component when you're buying Hunter Strike or Blade of Heptaseas. Although in many cases, buying a fully finished item is a lot less cost effective than buying just the components, but remember, you only get 6 item slots, so it's overall more beneficial to buy the fully finished items since you only got limited space, and you can have unlimited gold as the game continues on. In summary, if you buy Hunter Strike and War Axe together, you can have up to 80% movement speed boost in the game, and make sure to purchase Fury Hammer first to maximize your early game burst damage. If majority of your main targets are sitting under 60 armor, there's absolutely no need to build Malific Roar at all. Instead, you should optimize more towards building pure damage item like Blade of Despair for the burst damage. But if enemy ends up having around the 100 armor point or even higher, especially on the backline carries, you need to consider building Malific Roar to boost up your overall damage output. That will be all for today's video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn the bell on to all notification bells. Love you guys, AssassinDave signing off. See you guys next time. Bye now.
Just for the thrill of it, nothing counterfeit with you.